Hello, species value nature system. I want to explain to you what everyone misses. We have campuses. We have cities, inter-campus relationships, all natures of campus, including child schools of each age connected to programs where we have jobs. There and here, where they're of a nature like our civilized nations, and counters to it, commonly criminally re-engineered campus martius roles. The value of our species revealed the value of the campus martius together, as our nature's positive relationship to itself revealed the value of campus martius. The devil, the proverbial devil, an organized crime method, not a lawyer, not a police form, not a criminal, this knew that defenses of a criminally re-engineered value evolved value of fact treatment, quality of fact treatment nature campus martius, that knew how to cause evolution by being what is grounded as positive to the ground, positive to and as the value of our active body of value discernment with an as, invisible but clear value discernment, and the same with progressions, invisible but clear value nature relationship discernment, two values greater nature, which is simultaneously distinctly and non-distinctly in our control. Behold. So in other words, fake news, it should not take it personal. Mandated law is not to pretend to care about people that just because you know them, and so to hide child predators, to hide roles, obfuscating conversations with anything tied to that, like they did with the principal sex offender, fake news with WFSB. Their roles with before that, and then with that as roles with sexual harassment from New Britain Superior Court's Facebook page. Excuse me. And with people associated with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, and with a witness protection program of the guy they said killed him with that. Which the friends, the family, and the neighbors across the street from, they're associated with the state judicial branch office in Wethersfield. Houses next to that criminally. They're associated with Two Rod Highway with his cousin, and houses across the street from that and around that area criminally. With a Dillon family, recorded and confessed by many my entire life, involved with sequential database illusion stack and identity theft crime roles. Also further with the town offices with other military, police, and police families with identity thefts, fake conversation. So this is because it's interbranch police too, recorded in online and in court, forging and switching names. And brothers with that one in the Wethersfield Police Department, Janito Mendez. Never had a conversation with him. Nonverbal, he confirmed roles, imply he's an officer had a gun on his side, handed us a police report that with a fake recorded thing, pretended recorded by police equipment that wasn't recorded as sequence shift roles. After they already had recorded crime acts and roles with officers switching names, forging names, inter-branch, in cases, in collusion with their online raid threat roles too, message and posted, sequence shifts, pretending for passions, in other words, sequence shifting with that too, because they have crime roles with former director of the FBI's federal criminals who had crime roles with kids with one kid they had in my grade criminally involved with people with Trinity College police, on and off campus police, foreign police, in collusion through students, stuff like they have a maintenance. They have a method to the maintenance of all jobs, defending, forcing states and areas in collusion, forcing presidents to stay criminal and seditious natures are positive with them. That's fake care for the refugees in a context they're not letting, they know is a war context. With all those people there and here, we have the same enemy, our nations. But being forced to respect fake sides. We have our history breached, stole. We have our founders' identity thefts are the value of what pretends to care for them. George Washington both did and did not chop down the cherry tree in Connecticut, leaving overt slavery in Wethersfield, Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut, right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War. Be more. Fix the fake news. The mandated law was to force you to take rape threats, sexual harassment acts heard, especially recorded ones. And then see the police forms are pretending it's not recorded because these cliques, also with Thaddeus Grabowski, involved with crimes with WFSB police, with the Mendez Brothers police, the main brothers involved, were recorded and confessed database illusion stacking, property thefts with police forms interbranch when I was a kid, and people in my classes, sequence shifting roles, their roles with crimes with retired and standing policing of the schools, involved with the child sex offenders further, and with the ones tied in my area too, tied to the other schools. Let's go, you know. They have the judges switching names too, forging names. These are cliques also, drug cliques, evidence fabrication nature cliques, identity theft cliques from my town in New Britain Superior Court, also recorded and confessed, involved with the proven Ninth Circuit clique from inside the Ninth Circuit right before the Trade Center attack. Sequence shift, post-dated documents that had been later proven hand-delivered to Manhattan on time for the Ninth Circuit in the Trade Center context. That's the Trade Center context, Ninth Circuit, Manhattan. That proven led to a 2006 case with the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his roles with the federal criminals from my town that were intercity through time with crime acts, with uses of the databases of Central Connecticut State University criminally, uses of a Gilmore family, recorded and confessed, involved with doctors pretending they had conversations with me, tied to a Susan Gilmore, and to policing, interbranch with programs with criminal justice, and with people on Church Street, and with the corner of Church Street, with criminally involved with them, and criminally involved. The Morrow family also sought me out in middle school, recorded and confessed, involved crimes with overt criminal enterprises from Italy and from, you know, Los Salitos and stuff like that, associated with his brother John DeMorrow, also involved with Caldor in Cromwell, and with Walmarts and Stop and Shops, criminally involved with policing associated with Town Line Road. Also, they confessed and recorded with a Tony DeMorrow and other Joe DeMorrow and Pakistani people involved with crimes with, like, also Joseph, a bait. I never had a conversation in my life. So they're having people pretend, the police forms are having other police forms pretend, because they're juxtaposed foreign and domestic sick. They're raised with crimes with, like, a Delafair family with probate court judges, with identity thefts, now with crime rolls with sex offenders further recorded. See, but they're switching names of judges with various natures of courts criminally involved with their police, like in court, out court with the Mendez brothers, in collusion with their roles with the principal sex offender when they were first forcing him sustained with the grammar school and further. Also recorded, confessed, involved with identity thefts with a Phil Collo and other relatives of, extended relatives of a Red Claw, with recorded and confessed with crimes with the former and standing police chief and his families and his extended family, identity thefts, drug crime rolls, evidence crime rolls. I think the predators raised like that. Also with the corners of the street of the principal sex offender with the O'Brien family, also recorded, confessed, involved with retired and standing police with Sandy Hook, with some Thomas Ward prison up there, with a guy named Thomas Ward too, with that juxtaposed for, they do a little fact checking in rackets because they keep it exploited how all the jobs of even FBI, they're punks for the recorded criminally foreign influence roles and natures with and as the value of Robert Luskin and his and that was before and through their treatments of Mueller and of Cohen, and and of there's also a Cohen who recorded and confessed with crimes of with the Magnanos, and with people with Local 230, and with officers that pretend arrests into the databases of courts, and with roles with the sex offender crime acts and rules, and uses of there were women and men and kids who confessed and recorded that they were being coached to evidence reception, to pretend things are recorded, to catch them, to cover up their live progressions, because I was trying to report things from 2000, but I stick on acts, and then when they're lying about the acts, they're showing identity theft further. So I was leaving. In other words, they're pretending not to understand me. They understand me. I didn't even get to. The only reason I didn't explain to the when they were forcing the principal sex offender sustained, they did it by arresting me for trying to report crime acts with that. Before I even got to the recorded, the same court involved with their kids there involved with the principal sex offender. They're using that to hide their live progressions, because those courts recorded and confessed and demonstrated involved with identity thefts in past cases and with interbranch police through time, because they towards their coaching of women, abuses of women and kids and men on Covington Street, on Normandy Heights, recorded confessed involved too, with foreign and domestic military inclusion, and with their roles with the Confederate flag rackets, like with and KKK, were associated, recorded, and confessed involved with UPS crimes, with Oliveri family, and with Joshua Stryker. That I never had a conversation with a Dean Alford and a Dean Judd, recorded, confessed, involved with identity thefts with them, drug crimes with kids with them, roles with inter-campus rackets on all campus undercovers, with crime acts in collusion with overt criminal enterprises. With the United Six Natures, recorded with roles and needs to have inter-campuses, especially on Park Street, on the corner of Park Street and New Park, recorded and confessed involved. Same interbranch police, crimes with judges retired and standing with their roles, crimes with their state judicial branch offices, uses of prisons. We have sick natures from original method to this. Jobs that were raised as victim predators by already propagated criminally foreign influence branches, and all tied to that, because that was made and kept for them to need to hide life progressions as styles, need to hurt and to appreciate the hurt, correlation nature, need to pretend to kill other. So what do? They hand them things like narratives, like prejudice and stuff like that. They know it's not money. The problem with Hartford, Connecticut, with those schools, and that's tied to, because that's the same group, to the maintenance of that, like the Lethe family. They're involved with Hartford Hospital, with other natures of with agencies and their family members recorded sick with child sex offenders, identity theft, crime acts, and roles and natures. Judges coaching them to this. They're coaching areas crimes because that's where they've been with area crimes to hide life progressions, to hide their natures as conceived, needing to. So then we have even. Also, there's Kelly Kazmarek. I don't know how you pronounce the name. That's how I heard someone say the name once. I never had a conversation with her. I never had a class with her. I never was in a position of her in my life. On Facebook, she kept repeating that she has a father in the CIA. And she said that, and she demonstrated that, recorded, tied to her roles with crimes with Facebook, with the people at the corner of Highcrest Street and Hangdog Lane, where it runs the two-route highway, before the pike, which ends before the heart of Hartford. No, where George Washington had to leave slavery right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, even with the French general's help. No, J.P. Morgan's grave right there, who had to loan money to us to fight the world wars. No, demonstrably forced because it was all forced fake sides. America just jumped into the fake sides roles because our founders weren't free yet. Their identities were stolen in our face. Correlation stolen. Fake sides, fake middle. They see that's why I'm trying to ask for the names. When you go to courts, when you have them caught like that, when they arrest you by making things up, and ever after having done that. So we have various natures of criminal uses of the standing nature of the FBI, juxtaposed with other nations' police, and roles with like a DeMauro family, a Kerr family, a Walters family, and with judges criminally, intercity, and they do the sequence shift, and they're trying to start fights, so we can't deal with crime acts because they're doing identity thefts through time. They attaching me to fake relationships to people that I never even met, and they tried to film illusions with this Cuddy family, and these are people involved with forensics and with undercover police officers with crime acts and roles with overt criminal enterprises that are recorded in collusion, facilitated not for, even though as a fact treatment truth have part way facilitated for drugs and things like that. What they're really being facilitated for is their crime roles with police forms, foreign and domestic, who are also psychologists, and using that for abridged constitution cover-ups and for lie progression cover-ups tied to that, because they're maintaining needing to cover lie, needing to discern needs to hide lies and to hurt correlation nature offensively, but because everyone's raised to positions relying upon experts, relying upon bosses, relying upon abridged constitution justifications, convictions that you can't have explicitly laid out with the Constitution, because then you're demonstrating the free speech is still not realized. Identity theft. When they have black and white, this is an identity theft crime rule. This is not just identity theft. This is the identity theft of our founders. They have color in there because, and they have the engineering of tactically denatured relationship to nature as means, as fact treatment nature quality, fake, and pretended other, pseudo-positive, criminal insidiousness nature. Chet Casper too, I never had a conversation, never had a class with him in my life. He was directed to pretend other in relationship to people associated with this Cuddy family criminally, with the ones in my area, with the interbranch forensics, and with the people associated with body dumping spot, with a criminally with a Faenza family, and with the Dillon family, and with people on Two-Route Highway, also, and with this Phil Colella, recorded confessed involved with a family in a Victorian home, and others with interbranch and so also interbranch retired and standing and foreign associated with AT&T and with Chris Walters involved with them criminally. I don't know if it's the same. I mean, he's got a wife, Natalie, and his mother though, but his mother's involved with like programs with people with police forms with Washington criminally, and with his brothers, and with like their roles with gay cliques, and that pretended care for that as their roles juxtaposed with overt child sex offenders used to hide lie progression. Also have deaf people, an old deaf guy in the area involved criminally with the O'Brien family, criminally with the identity thefts, with evidence crimes, with the crimes with the sex offenders using interbranch Facebook pages in the Facebook pages of campuses because they need to cover their lie progressions intercity because they've been connecting intercity acts to prevent people from being able to counter what they're using confessions for from strangers. Because then that makes a fact treatment racket where the person, if they try to tell anything, it makes it seem like they have to pretend. That makes the listener be able to pretend they think there's a relationship in the past. They know them before that. It's like a sequence shifting trick. In other words, they have people demonstrating abuses of our kids. We can't demonstrate. We can't tell on it still because of the same mandated law. The same people that pretended they're caring for it, too late. They're offensively using such as roles facilitated by what keeps areas maintained, hurt, each body, each individual group together progressively and sequentially. Correlation nature sabotaged consciously. So, WFSB, please fix your fake news. This is a conversation that the Finds family directed, confessed, and recorded, directed with others that were directed as strangers to pretend other and to make confessions to me, which are also the recorded crime rolls with FBI and other agencies recorded and confessed. Also with people, a Lethe family that pretended I had conversations with them about agencies and about police equipment. I never had a conversation with police equipment or anyone in my life with police equipment. That's also recorded and confessed with their roles with the Mendez brothers, pretending things recorded with them, forging names with other police involved. They were involved with other police too before that too. And with that too, switching names, forging names, sequence shifting, roles with on campus, policing and actors in association with what's maintained manifest criminally foreign influence, stacking database solutions, identity thefts, exploiting recorded tied untimely deaths, even if one or any of them were made up, like the one on Trinity College's campus, recorded and confessed. And that's with the dean switching names, forging names, also recorded and confessed, involved with criminal justice stuff associated in interbranch, sick with the boxing programs, each of them, with identity thefts, with roles with CCSU, Trinity College involved with that, with the ILO family, Zion Street, with the houses in my area tied to that, Zion Street with investigators, interbranch, sick with the kids, and with the Claw family with the new and with the long ago police chiefs that had a girlfriend that lived in the house. And his cousin Phil Claw and the other ones involved with identity theft. They have a fake Facebook, YouTube page pretending to be me. They have Facebook pages pretending to be me in the past too. They recorded threatening, switching names, making up evidences, threatening me and women that report things. And they're doing such like, or they think they're Star Wars or something like that. You know, they slander for sources throughout things, vaccines. Trinity College has a guy named Darth Vader. Won't give his name. They're insulating the campuses too. Hard to contact because then they switch names, forge names. This is because they have judges, and with retired and standing, and with the state judicial branch's office already criminally needing to hide live progressions through time, through their roles, also with AT&T placements associated with people with Chris Walters, with medical drug clicks with doctors and police forms with the hospitals, with identity thefts tied to that, roles with rackets with the gang, what's really facilitating these overt criminal enterprises and inter-campuses impositions. Not money. It's not money why they failed the schools. It's not money why they have the river right by Hartford, Connecticut, left with infrastructural pathology that was forced since before our founder's birth to make negative value nature progressions that they keep blamed on other things and on others, not selves. Organized crime breaching method against our founder. That's why George Washington had to leave slavery in Wethersfield right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, even using the French generals' help. Return. So WFSB. It's not. You guys are stacking crimes. I'll just fix the fake news. If you don't have to think about it, take the mandated crime. Admit your thing. You can't follow the mandated law if you're pretending that you're hiding a mistake. Because now I've been asking you here, crime acts. They're also recorded and confessed, demonstrated, telling the media or influencing the media to pretend that, well, I forgot. Anyway, fix the fake news, WFSB. And let's get the name of the ad people that finds a family also demonstrated, recorded, involved with the principal sex offender further with the Dilla family with them, and with a Phil Claw recorded and confessed by a Bob Chase associated, and others with the courts involved with the further sex offenders, further with the school, because they have their kids there. They need to hide life progressions tied to their roles having been identity thefts and slandering me since they were kids with drug clicks and stuff used for predicate act roles, like the Lethe family also recorded and confessed with crimes with the New Britain Superior Court and with the probate court involved further criminally with Two Rod Highway and with where it runs into Hangdog Lane and there's a street right there that goes off of the High Crest with this principal sex offender and the further interbranch police and private retired and standing further with the sex offender roles and with the slander roles and with them. This is what I was going to say. They pretending they're about privacy. People want privacy, but if they need to defend themselves per nature of impositions that requires no privacy, then we need to speak. They're preventing this. You're using Facebook and using YouTube, also recorded, because the lies that they were telling with the person on YouTube are ones recorded and confessed involved with people associated with Heather Hansen and with men and women associated with Trinity College, with foreign and domestic agencies criminal, with overt criminal enterprises, and with their uses of campuses. That's where it really was facilitated for. Database solution stacking role, evidence crime roles, because then they maintain negative value nature progressions, which lie progressions are associated with, because they're pseudo-positive, and nature will demonstrate they're pseudo-positive, demonstrating the value of human nature as criminal insidiousness nature, unless you return to the value nature relationship to the campus Marcius is when mandate is followed. We build the wall. Fake branches fall. CT is cherry tree. I tell you, wow. WFSB.